any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So, this isn't, I feel this is an important way to think. And I feel like we see people shut down quick when they hear about something too far out. And as we
Yeah.
enter into this 10th canto, we're going to be hearing about all kind of far out things that are commonly categorized as mythology.
Mm.
But a thinker like Clarke here, I think that he could read 10th canto Bhāgavatam and just say, well, I'm not going to
Could
say
be.
that that's impossible, right? If there are many things that we think that we've thought are impossible, like, as you were saying, Raghunath, like a smartphone, which, a couple centuries back, if we would have brought that up, anybody would say that's fantasy. Well, now we've figured out how to do it, right? And so the things that we hear about in Bhagavatam and Krishna's things that Krishna's doing, things that great yogis are doing, why not stretch our imagination a little bit? And just because our tiny little sphere of experience, just because they exist outside, well, let me put it this way, just because we haven't experienced them within our tiny sphere of experience, doesn't mean that they're impossible.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from beautiful Alachua, Florida, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha. Welcome to the show, everybody. It is Friday. Today's Friday, May 30th, and this is episode, Mara.
1613.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the show. Whew, made it up. 5-hour trip up from Fort Lauderdale back to the homeland, Alachua, the land of devotees here. Unbelievable devotees everywhere. And yeah, had a great time with my kid and friends.
Do they make you feel young?
No, they sort of make me feel old.
Okay.
They make me feel a little old being around your kids sometimes. But that's okay. That's okay. I heard 60s. I'm all geared up for the 60s. January, I'm going to turn 60. And I'm sort of like, I've heard the 60s are the best. And I've thought that this decade of the 50s, this has been my best decade. So I heard the 60s is the best. And I'm going to go in there strong. I'm going to go in like a champ.
Who did you hear that from?
Someone just said it. I can't remember who it was.
You decided you buy into it. Why not?
Yeah. How are you? What am I missing out on?
What are you missing out on?
Yeah. What's going on in your life?
Things are exciting in New York because Rath Yatra is building up. You got Satyanandan Swami in town. You got Radha Swami arriving on Sunday.
Yeah. You know where he's arriving from?
This is not a competition.
It's not a competition. I'm just saying I'm meeting with him right after this show. I got to get off early. Right. No hanging on, no gabbing. I'm meeting with him this morning.
Oh, by the way, there's something that I'm going to have to announce.
Wait a second. Let that sit. Let that sit.
It's related
first.
to this. It's related.
I'm meeting with Maharaj this morning.
Okay, I'm letting that sit.
I think at the end of the show, Kaustubha and I want to talk about our plan for the day and what we're doing.
Yeah, well, you guys can do that.
No, with you, Prabhu.
I have important discussions about Kaustubha with Maharaj.
Let's let that sit for a while. Really relish Raghunath's pastimes.
I'm telling
Raghunath's pastimes should be remembered, reflected upon, meditated on, worshipped.
Listen, I'm going to tell on you if you don't watch out. I'm going to tell on you.
You go for it. Knock yourself out. See, when you do that with Radha Swami, it works against you, Raghunath. You see? He's like,
he asked me, how's Kaustubha doing? Is he treating you well? Is he giving you the respect you deserve?
All right. No, but there's an event coming up in New York, and I think it was just finalized yesterday.
Tell me.
And I think it's going to be June 6th, which is a Friday. I
A
believe.
Friday.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
And that's going to involve Radhanath Swami and Gauranga Prabhu and myself and the Consulate General of India.
oh, wow.
And it's going to be at the Bhakti Center.
Wow.
And it's going to be, the theme is going to be, oh, let me see if I can pull this up because let's see. Okay, we got it. I got the info right here. Bhakti Center invites you to an interactive session, Bridging the Worlds, the Path of Yoga and Ancient Vedic Wisdom in the 21st Century America. And that's going to, special guest will be the Honorable CGI, the Consulate General of India, Mr. Binay Pradhan. And of course, Srila Radhanath Swami will be there, and Gauranga Prabhu will be there, and I will also be a speaker. It'll be like
you
a
were going
panel
to
thing.
say,
Huh?
I thought you were going to say the governor of Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Ji.
Well, I know you're a big fan of Yogi Ji. But in any case, yeah, we would love for, here's the timings on that. That's from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. on Friday, June 6th. It's by invitation only, so we'll get the information out to you.
Are you inviting us now?
I suppose I am, but I just don't have I currently don't have like where you go to. I guess you go to the Bhakti Center. Go to the Bhakti Center's website. You might be able to register for that.
Okay.
And you know what I'm thinking? That for Bhakti Center people, maybe we could just like all have dinner together afterwards. Why are you laughing?
It's just funny. You always do that. Let's have dinner
It's a nice
together.
thing to do. It's an opportunity to get together.
It's your thing. Let's go to dinner at Divya's.
It's a nice thing to do.
It is. It's like Kaustubha's night out. He goes to Divya's and gets
Oh,
together.
so you're like snickering at my social life, my limited social life. That's what you're doing. Now I understand.
I am a little slightly, but it's beautiful.
So, any case, I'll announce more about that if we do that. But here it is, right? Bridging the Worlds. I think it'll be an interesting conversation and a nice chance to get the association of Radhanath Swami as well, and Gauranga Prabhu.
You know,
and
the next day at Super Soul Farm, we have a kirtan, all day kirtan from 2 p.m. sort of all day.
Okay, why did
2
you-
p.m. to 9 p.m.
Okay. We
And
have to
you're
be careful
invited
about
to come.
announcements, Raghunath. You see, this is something I've been trying to communicate to you. We got to be, every time someone makes an announcement, we're like, I'm going to make another announcement. Then it's nothing but announcement.
This is a genuine announcement.
I know. We can't have too
having a
many of
kirtan.
them. That's my point.
We're having a kirtan fest,
Okay.
2 to 7
it's a
p.m.
genuine
2 to
announcement.
9 p.m.
I
And
wasn't,
everybody's invited.
I wasn't
It's
questioning the
free, it's
genuineness of
donation.
the
Stop
announcement.
talking and let me just make the announcement.
Okay.
It's from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. If you're interested, email Miss Mara. Also, tomorrow, Floridians. Saturday,
no
May
more announcements.
31st.
Mara.
No.
What?
I'm teaching 2 yoga classes in Palm Coast, Florida. Floridians, check it out. Go to Hot Yoga Lounge at Hot Yoga Lounge, Florida.
Okay.
There. My announcements are finished.
I'm sick of announcements.
Okay.
Although Mara
you
looks
can't
like
make
maybe she has an
today. I
announcement to
can't
make.
an announcement.
Now I'm scared.
No, go make your Mara has the official announcements.
The official announcement. It's Tell a Friend Friday. So check out our Sage community platform and share our video that promotes wisdom of the sages. You can like it and share it on social media to help spread the word about our amazing community. And then also tomorrow's Q&A day at 8 a.m. Eastern time. So if you have a question, you can go to wisdomofthesages.com. You go to questions for the host tab in the community chat, or you can email it to me at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com.
There's a show tomorrow? Who's doing the show tomorrow? I'm not
Me
doing
and
the show tomorrow.
Raghunath, the
Me
show
and
goes on
Kaustubha.
without you.
Sometimes.
All right. I'm doing a
Sometimes.
yoga class.
All right. What time is
Okay.
that class? Where can one find it again?
Palm Coast Yoga.
Not funny.
He's getting mad at me now. I'm
It's
sorry.
like your announcements are valid and mine are
Well, no,
invalid.
I don't normally do that, but this announcement was important that we get the word out on this quick because it's coming up quick and it hasn't come out
So
yet.
is this. It's coming up the next
you've mentioned it
day
many
after
times,
your
though,
day.
Okay. I'm just
You're
saying,
the 6th. I'm the
Raghunath,
7th.
that's fine that you gave the announcement. I'm just saying that we have to be careful that we don't give too many announcements.
I
in a
know.
day.
I was going to
People
say that
freak
to
out.
you.
Okay. Thank you. I'll keep it in mind. All right.
Should we
We
move
ready
on
now?
to the nugget?
Yeah, please. Please. What's the nugget? Who's it from, Mara?
This comes from Arthur C. Clarke.
Do you know who that is?
He's a writer, but that's about all I know about him. I think he's
More than just a writer, Mara. He is more than just that.
I mean, everybody's a writer, aren't they?
He wrote that screenplay, Space Odyssey.
That's right.
2001, A Space Odyssey.
That's right. He's a British science fiction writer, futurist. Maybe you could put that in your bio, Raghunath, a futurist.
You know what's interesting? I'm older than all those movies and novels and TV shows about the future. Remember, like it was like Space
2001 Space Odyssey, 1984.
2001. It's like we're so much past those
Way past
times that seemed 1984. Everything that seemed like the future is now way in the past.
It's true, Raghunath. So he was a science fiction writer, a futurist, an inventor, and an
undersea explorer.
That's a good one, Raghunath.
That's
Think
a
about
good
that
one.
An undersea
I don't have that one under my belt.
Okay. And yeah, he was best known as the author of 2001: A Space Odyssey, which he co-developed with director Stanley Kubrick. And Clarke was deeply respected not only for his visionary fiction. Now, this is interesting, right? But for his scientifically grounded predictions about the future. Many of his ideas, like communication satellites, were ahead of their time and helped shape real-world technological development. All right.
Yeah.
Did we lose Mara?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I was just listening.
I thought you would go like, wow, that's an impressive man.
Yeah, he is very, very impressive.
So what did he have to say?
Okay, so he says any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Magic.
Mm.
The paranormal,
Yeah.
maybe. What do you make of that, Raghunath, that nugget?
I love it. It's like a reminder that just because we don't understand something doesn't mean it's not real. We've gotten used to so much like incredible technology. Like we don't even blink when someone pulls out a phone and FaceTime someone from across the planet.
Yeah.
And there's your face. And here's my face looking in a little
to the looking glass.
Yeah, exactly. Like a crystal ball. But if you go back, rewind a couple centuries, that would have seemed like pure, unadulterated wizardry, and that's the thing. So many of the stories, the phenomenon that we're quick to label as mythology might just be a reality that, we just don't have the tools or the humility to grasp, like it could exist. Maybe our imagination needs to stretch a little more. Maybe what sounds like fantasy is just a kind of science that fully hasn't revealed itself yet. Instead of dismissing everything as crazy stories. Oh, this is just the abnormal. It's for you conspiracy theorists. Maybe we just ought to approach it like, could be. I don't know. I don't know everything.
Yeah.
Telepathy tapes. Hello.
Okay. Which I've heard they've been debunked.
You listened to them yet?
I've heard they've been debunked, but maybe they're people that just have not expanded their imagination for it.
You know what? There's always trying to somebody to there's like these enemy-centered people who need to claim their fame from somebody else's fame because they can't figure.
They got to tear someone down.
They have no
to
discoveries
build
themselves.
They're trying to tear down the telepathy tapes to build themselves up.
Yeah. Anyway,
well, that may be, but no, I'm with you on this, Raghunath, and I think, of course, it's an important thing. It's it was Einstein. This is a real paradigm shift for maybe the majority of people, but it was Einstein that said, and we've talked about this on the show before. He said that imagination is more important than knowledge, and I understand what he's saying when he's saying that is for discovery, for finding truth. The tool of imagination is even more important than knowledge. If you have imagination, you can discover knowledge, and if you don't, you're just going to stay in a little box, and you're not going to expand beyond it. So the big discoveries are made by people that can stretch their imagination, and I think that's part of what Clarke. This what we read today. This nugget: any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. That is one of his 3 laws. He created laws, Raghunath. I think you ought to try that one too, like Raghunath's laws.
Raghunath's postulate.
Yeah, yeah, you had postulates.
I did have some of those. Remember, we were running with those postulates.
We had some going
postulate 44.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, we were just picking random numbers for them. I think they weren't developing.
I know. I should really start an order.
Well, Clarke just kept it to 3. Would you like to hear about his laws? I think you'll find these interesting.
Sure.
So Clarke's three laws, these laws are concise insights about the relationships between science, discovery, and human perception.
Okay.
They were formulated over time, but popularly collected in his book, Profiles of the Future, which was published in 1962. First law: when a distinguished but elderly scientist states that something is possible, he is almost certainly right. When he states that something is impossible, he is very probably wrong. Now that is interesting, right? It's interesting that this is the way that he thought. I think this has a lot to do. In other words, what is impossible? It's just things that we don't understand. Right?
Yeah.
Second law: the only way of discovering the limits of the possible is to venture a little way past them into the impossible. We need to consider what we consider impossible right now. We have to think that truth can exist beyond it if we're ever going to discover the truth that exists beyond it,
Yep.
And then the third one was the one that we read today. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So, this isn't, I feel this is an important way to think, and I feel like we see people shut down quick when they hear about something too far out. And as we enter into this 10th canto, we're going to be hearing about all kind of far out things that are commonly categorized as mythology. But a thinker like Clarke here, I think that he could read 10th canto of Bhāgavatam and just say, well, I'm not going to say that that's impossible, right? There are many things that we think that we've thought are impossible, like, as you were saying, Raghunath, like a smartphone, which, a couple centuries back, if we would have brought that up, anybody would say that's fantasy. Well, now we've figured out how to do it, right? And so the things that we hear about in Bhāgavatam and Krishna's things that Krishna's doing, things that great yogis are doing, why not stretch our imagination a little bit? And just because our tiny little sphere of experience, just because they exist outside, well, let me put it this way, just because we haven't experienced them within our tiny sphere of experience, doesn't mean that they're impossible.
I like to say, when we approach Vedic teachings, don't go in like I blindly accept, and don't go in like I blindly doubt. Come up, approach it, and say, could be. Once you say could be, it opens up that garage door where you have a whole nother, magical world, because we don't know. And this idea of could be, it just allows us to get out of the tiny little box of our reality that we've been living in.
Limited box,
we've been living of the terrestrial things in this world that we can, touch and grab. Could be. I don't know. It's so safe to say, and it's not leading with the ego. It's leading with, I'm open. I don't know everything. And from that, you can actually learn.
There you go.
If you feel like you know everything, who can tell you anything?
Yeah, that's definitely a fact. And then on top of that, if you feel that reality, I have another statement here too. And this, where this one came from, Raghunath?
This is good stuff for you, Prabhu. This can help you on your path.
Thank you, Raghunath. Thank you. Thank you for that. I had another nugget.
What you got?
And this comes from the same source as yesterday, from Carl Sagan, and from the very same book, which was, what was it called? The Pale Blue Dot?
Oh, yeah.
He said, the universe is not required to be in perfect harmony with human ambition or perception. In other words, I have my perception, right, as far as I can see, or as far as I can see with the help of a telescope or a microscope, as far as I can hear, et cetera. And we think that if we think that the universe must, and the laws and how the laws of the universe operate must fit within my realm of perception. No, not necessarily at all. Your realm of perception is very limited, and there are things that are going on in this universe that are beyond them. That's a far greater possibility than that everything that exists within the realm of your perception or your ability to perceive. And so, yeah, we're going to hear about Krishna lifting Govardhan Hill. How can a person lift up a mountain definitely impossible, right? How
Possible. Could be.
possible?
Could be.
Could be, could be. You know,
Could do it.
we're gonna hear about today. We're gonna hear about some telepathy. What's the definition of telepathy? Mara, could you look that up? I think it just means like,
Well,
let's look up telepathy. Let's see. That was the thing you're talking about, right? Telepathy tapes?
yeah,
Telepathy
that's right.
tapes.
Telepathy. What does telepathy even mean, Raghunath?
Telepathy to mean understand someone else's mind without words.
Telepathy.
The purported vicarious transmission of information from one person's mind to another
Boom.
without using any known human sensory channels or physical interaction.
Okay, we're going to hear about some telepathy today. And Raghunath, I think you need to hear this. I think this would be important for you. I think you could grow.
Good for me on my path.
I think it would be good for you on your path.
I was thinking that one thing you were just saying, how there's different levels of understanding. Also, we have this human understanding of reality, and there's certain things that we accept are good, certain things we accept are bad. For example, forest fires, tsunamis, these are horrible things. They wipe out people, people die, they wipe out their homes, their businesses, their livelihoods. Forest fires remineralize the earth. Tsunamis remineralize the earth. On that level, it might have a good effect, but we're seeing it from a human paradigm.
Right.
And so there's many different paradigms. There's the paradigms of the ants and the mice and the birds, and each one of them has a different reality. So when we quick to label things as this is good, this is bad, this is tragic, that's just in a human species vision of the world. There's many layers of paradigms of the world from different species, or from an overall paradigm of what's beneficial for the entire planet.
What you're,
Raghunath.
what you're saying to me reminds me of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada's brilliant commentary on the invocation to the Ishopanishad.
What I just said reminded you of a brilliant commentary. Thank you.
Yes, reminded me
Thank
of
you
it. I
for
didn't say it was a brilliant
very
commentary.
nice.
I said it reminded me
It
of one that
reminded
was.
you of very brilliant commentary. Thank you. And I said, thank you very much. So you're being very kind.
But the verse, the cryptic verse that Srila Prabhupada translates, Om Purnam Adaham Purnam Idam, he's saying that, the personality of God is perfect and complete, right? The word Purnam is repeated again and again in this, right? Completeness. It's a mantra about completeness, and it's saying that
Mm.
the supreme Brahman, the absolute truth, Sri Krishna, the personality of God, is perfect and complete. And because he's perfect and complete, everything that comes from him is completely perfect, including the world that we live in, the phenomenal world, right? That's where it seems incomplete or imperfect in so many ways. There's forest fires, there's tsunamis, and so on. But Prabhupada mentions in there, no, it's all complete. And if we think it's not, it's only our understanding that's incomplete, right? But as you were saying, there's so many paradigms, there's so many perspectives.
The main one being that I'm the center of the universe, and therefore, if I'm sick or if I'm diseased or if I'm dying, that somehow the world is cruel and wrong. And I don't even know if dying could be the best thing for me.
It could be,
You know what I
right?
mean? It could be exactly what the world needs right now. Or I could be entering into another realm that's exponentially better than this realm I'm in right now.
Join us today on Wisdom of the Sages podcast as we explore the question, would Raghunath's death be good for the world? All right. No, I think even your death would be good for the world, Raghunath. Not that your presence is better, but eventually, even through your death, you'll show the world how to enter into the next realm, the higher realm.
Thank you.
I think
Thank
you
you.
can do that.
I'm looking
forward to it.
looking forward to it. Hare Krishna.
All right.
It's actually, what's that part of the Yoga Sutras, that non-clinginess of the self to the body, or what we call severing the
ties?
Hriya Granta, the knot of the heart. Like there's a knot that ties us to this frame, that we have fear because we feel like I'm losing my body, therefore I'm losing my life, I'm losing what I think is me. Imagine what it must be like when that is actually severed and you actually have no fear in this world because you cannot die, what an incredible way to walk through this world.
Severing that knot.
Sever the knot. Great t-shirt right there.
And then it could have a picture of a knot.
Hey, Kaustubha, while we're getting this going, while I chant the prayers, why don't you put up that t-shirt design that you want to make and ask the people on the message board if they like it?
Okay, I want to chant the prayers. I want to take part in that.
Don't.
then-
It sounds horrible when we both do it. It sounds like a
No,
jumble.
I don't. I'm going to take part. I'm going to take
Just
part in it. I'm
respectfully
gonna bring my
bow to the
awareness to
prayers.
it. Yeah,
Okay. All right, well, and my point is, do whatever you want, but post that picture and ask for feedback.
I'll post it
What
right
people
now.
think of our new t-shirt design.
Okay.
Okay. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamandirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhāgavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in class in the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Agyana Timarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmadatam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet.
Okay, here it is, Raghunath.
Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Chapter 10, Canto 10, Chapter 1, Text 21.
Oh, hold on. I made a mistake. I shared the Photoshop file.
Okay, so we're just talking about Brahma, who's the chief of the demigods. And Vishnu has approached, Brahma has approached Vishnu, speaking through the heart. Isn't that, I find that very interesting that Lord Vishnu speaks through the heart of Brahma.
Well, that's where, yeah,
That's the
where we're coming
That's the telepathy, right?
from. That's the telepathy I've been talking about. Exactly.
Yeah, I've been talking about it for about 2 weeks now. It's about time you jump on the telepathy thing. 2 weeks ago, you were like, "Yeah, telepathy, yeah, whatever." Crazy podcast. Now you're like, telepathy is real.
Raghunath, you're always so many steps ahead of me. Thank you. If I would only learn to follow.
Well, it's part of being a good leader.
Okay, I'm going to share this T-shirt. 1 second.
Okay, good. Okay, I understood now. Where I didn't know where you were going with the telepathy, but yeah, Brahma is receiving through telepathy in the heart from Lord Vishnu
That's right.
insight, instructions, the greater plan of what's about to happen.
Okay.
Okay,
What's the verse number again?
21.
21.
While in trance, Lord Brahma heard the words of Lord Vishnu vibrating in the sky. Thus he told the demigods, "O demigods, hear from me the order of Shirdakshay Vishnu, the Supreme Person, and execute it attentively."
Without delay.
I missed that.
No, so
Lord,
why don't you...
Lord Brahma.
No, hold on. Why don't you read some of this commentary here?
Go back a little. Alrighty. It appears that the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be heard in trance by competent persons.
Telepathic.
Modern
people.
science gives us telephones by which one can hear sound vibrations from a distant place. Similarly, this is exactly what our nugget was. Similarly, although persons cannot hear the words of Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma is able to hear the Lord's word within himself. This is confirmed in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. Adi Kavi means Lord Brahma. And in the beginning of creation, Lord Brahma received the instructions of Vedic knowledge from Lord Vishnu through the medium of the heart, the Hrida. That's the heart. The same principle is confirmed herewith. While Brahma was in trance, he was able to hear the words of Shirdakshay Vishnu, and he carried the Lord's message to the demigods. Similarly, In the beginning, Brahma first received the Vedic knowledge from the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the core of the heart. In both instances, the same process was used in transmitting the message to Lord Brahma. In other words, although Lord Vishnu is invisible to Lord Brahma could hear Lord Vishnu's words through the heart. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is invisible, even to Lord Brahma, yet he descends to this earth and becomes visible to people in general.
Okay.
This is...
Let's hold right there. So Prabhupada's referring to, he's taking us back to the first verse of Srimad Bhāgavatam, which is establishing who Krishna is, right? That it's saying that Krishna Janmad Yasya Yataha, that he's that from which everything originates, from which everything is born, everything comes from him. And he mentions quite a few things. He's trying to establish that in the first verse of Bhagavatam, that we've been throughout the course of the Vedic teachings, especially in the Vedas and the Upanishads, we've heard about the Brahman, but we haven't been able to, well, in some places, especially in the Gita, but people may not have been able to tie together who is that Brahman, who is that person, is it a person that's behind it all? And the first verse of the Bhagavatam at length is establishing that person is Krishna. And in one way that's established is by saying that, the absolute truth, the spoke to Brahma, the creator of the universe, that was Krishna. And he spoke to, who's the Adi Kavi, right? Adi Kavi means like the original Kavi, the original, sometimes Kavi is translated as poet, right? But I think, it can mean like a great thinker, like that. So he conveyed this knowledge through telepathy, right, into the heart. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikaviye. He spoke right into the heart. That was Krishna doing that. So that was established there. We're seeing the same relationship here again. There's Vishnu, and then there's Brahma. Brahma has sat down, chanted the Purusha Shukta prayers, meditated and glorified Vishnu in his mind, and then conveyed his message to Vishnu and received his message through telepathy into the heart. And we also hear that this is how Vyasadeva brought the Vedic literatures to us, right? Is that through his meditation, he was able to tap into the vibration of the Veda, which is this eternal knowledge not created by any human, that's floating through the atmosphere. And if you have the technology, if you know the method, then you can tune in.
Nice. Cool.
You're not listening at all. You're looking at the T-shirt stuff. Okay,
Not at all. Not at all. I was listening. I was on the edge of my seat.
Okay.
I was nodding, internally and externally.
All right. Nodding off.
Nodding off, internally and externally.
Internally and externally. Okay.
Lord Brahma informed the demigods before we submitted our petition to the Lord. He was already aware of the distress on earth. Consequently, for as long as the Lord moves on earth to diminish its burden by his own potency in the form of time, all of you demigods should appear through plenary portions as sons and grandsons in the family of the Adus.
So
Very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
That means there are demigods walking amongst them without them knowing. That means that could be happening right now. We don't even know. You wouldn't know.
Raghunath, perhaps you wouldn't know. Okay. But don't assume that others don't know.
Yeah, some people know. Some people have that.
Okay. But yeah, they're getting the band back together, right? It's like, okay. What's that feeling like when the band gets back together, right?
It's fun. It's a good feeling. It's like a family reunion. All right, the band's getting together. I'll meet you in Berlin.
Yeah, so this is the origin of Krishna's Leela, and we're going to hear about who's going to come. The Devas are going to come, and there's a call. Imagine how excited Brahma must have been. Okay, I just heard the telepathic message from Vishnu, and I got big news for all you Devas. He's going to come as Krishna, and we all have roles to play in this too. We're all going to be playing different roles. We will also take birth and incarnate in ways to play a role in Krishna's Leelas. And we're going to save Mother Earth in the course of doing this.
Okay. All right, that was 22. Now we're going to read 23. the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who has full potency, will personally appear as the son of Vasudeva.
Okay.
Therefore, all the wives of the demigods should also appear in order to satisfy him.
So, and yeah, the devas are coming. Hey, bring your wives. You know,
Bring your wives too. We're going to have a party. Krishna's coming.
everyone.
He's going to need some mothers, some friends of the mother.
Yeah, all of those things. You know, all these different the wives of Deva are going to appear and play a role in Krishna's leelas in one way or another.
The foremost manifestation of Krishna is Shankarshan, who is known as Ananta. He is the origin of all incarnations within this material world. Previous to the appearance of Lord Krishna, this original Shankarshan will appear as Baladev, just to please the Supreme Lord Krishna in his transcendental pastimes.
Yeah. So this is
What does Shankarshan mean?
Sankarshana. It means that we talked about this last week, right? That it's like it has to do with division, and that he appeared in one explanation is that he appeared in one womb, and then he was transferred to another womb, right? It said that he was first appeared in the womb of Devaki, and then was transferred to the womb of Rohini, and that's one reason why it was called Sankarshana. But
Mary, look that up, please. I appreciate your answer. I'd like to hear another answer too.
Okay.
That was a very good answer.
It can also mean drawing towards, attraction, or the act of bringing together.
Okay.
Huh.
That's from the AI overview, according to Google.
AI overview. But here, this is a theme in Krishna's Leela, and it tells us something about the heart of Krishna, who he is, and it also just tells us about the nature. It tells us a lot about him, and it tells us a lot about his pastimes, but Krishna doesn't come alone, right? When Srila Prabhupada was talking about, well, first of all, let's just think like, I would imagine that in like other people whose perception or whose exposure to theology doesn't include Krishna's Leela, when they think of God appearing, probably think of God as appearing alone, right? Because he's just like another category of existence, But when we hear Krishna Leela, what we hear is that Krishna, the supreme absolute truth from which everything emanates and so on, he's never alone. And so when Prabhupada was instructing, like he had not only, Prabhupada was unique in this, that when he published his books, almost all the other spiritual teachers, they just published books, written books. But Prabhupada's like, no, there has to be an entire art department, and there have to be paintings. People need to have a vision of this. This will be really important for them to understand who Krishna is and develop the bhava, to develop the feelings for him. He wanted to give them a picture of it. And so he gave them very specific instructions, all these artists. And one of the instructions was Krishna should never be painted alone. Krishna is never alone. Krishna is always accompanied. Even if he's with a peacock or a cow, he's always surrounded by love and always exchanging love. That's his very nature. And so when Krishna comes, it's just like if Raghunath were going to go to the Bahamas, he wouldn't just go alone. He would bring Mara. He would bring his kids. He might even bring me along. I don't know.
Bring you. I'll bring you. I'll bring you. If you're making up an imaginary trip for me, I'll bring you.
Okay, great. And so when Krishna comes, he brings all his associates, and they come with different purposes, and they come carrying different potencies. Now, always first to come is his brother Balaram, right? And he appears in different ways. He appears in Chaitanya Leela, he'll appear as Nityananda. In Ram Leela, he'll appear as Lakshman. But Balaram always comes, it's Krishna expanding into another being with its own will, but an all-powerful being. But it's him, and at the same time, it's a servant of him. Balaram comes to serve Krishna with a mood of love. I want to serve, I want to facilitate his pastimes. And so here the word Ananta is used. Ananta is that serpent. It's a manifestation of Balaram, the serpent that lies down, that Lord Vishnu lies on top. In Vishnu's pastime, he appears as Ananta. In Krishna's pastimes, he appears as Balaram. in Chaitanya's pastimes. He's appearing, and therefore we say he's the original guru because he's first to step forward with service, you know. And so here we hear when Krishna inside this prison, we're going to hear about this, how Krishna is born inside the prison. Before he appears first, Balaram, we hear about the appearance of Balaram. And then we also, this next verse is really interesting. Why don't we read the next verse, text 25. You with us?
20, yeah, okay. 25. The potency of the Lord, known as Vishnu Maya, who is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will also appear with Lord Krishna. This potency, acting in different capacities, captivates all the worlds, both material and spiritual. At the request of her master, she will appear with her different potencies in order to execute the work of the Lord. Now, are they speaking of the Yoga Maya or the Maya of the material world?
Yeah, so this, well, you see, that's a really interesting question, the way that you pose that. So we're going to hear about the birth of Balaram, and then we're going to hear also about this fascinating idea, right, that Krishna is born in the prison house, right? But mystically, he knows he needs to get Krishna. We're going to hear all about this. It's coming up. The whole story is about to unfold, but we're getting this little preview that Krishna's born in the prison house, and he's destined to be killed by the evil demon, his uncle Kamsa. But mystically, the doors to the prison open, and Krishna's father takes him across the Yamuna River to Vrindavan, into the home of Nanda Maharaj, who's kind of like the king of that cowherd community there. And at the same time, Yashoda had just given birth to a baby girl. And because he knows, he's thinking a girl's likely not to be killed, but Krishna needs to be saved, so he switches the baby. He does a baby switch.
The old switcheroo, you mean?
Is that ethical, Raghunath?
Baby switch, sure.
Baby switching.
As long as you put back another baby in its place.
Okay.
Right?
That's all that matters. Otherwise, switch away. And so he pulled a baby switch, and he put down Krishna with Mother Yashoda, who's kind of like, she was so exhausted from the labor that when she wakes up, she just thinks, oh, this is my son, right? And Vasudeva takes that baby girl back into the prison house. Now that baby girl is Yoga Maya, or here the word is being used as Vishnu Maya. That is one of the Shaktis of Krishna, right, in a female manifestation. And when Kamsa sees that baby girl, he kills it. He goes to kill her anyway, right? He was killing all the children of his sister Devaki, and we're going to hear the context. But when he picks her up, he grabs her by the feet, right? And what happens?
Well, he tries to kill her.
Yeah.
But because he touches her blessed feet, she, instead of instead of killing her as he throws her down, she ricochets magically back.
I don't know if she ricocheted.
Well, she ricochets.
Did she hit the ground?
Goes down, of course.
I thought she just, when he whipped her.
She did not hit the ground. She just flew up in the sky.
Yeah. Ricochet.
And she manifested her form as Durga.
Okay.
Bounced off the air, maybe.
Okay. In any case, he went to kill her, and he was going to slam her, and she slipped out of his grasp, and she rose up into the sky. Impossible?
Yeah.
No, not impossible.
Well, also, she looked like a little baby at one moment. The next moment, she was like a developed lady goddess riding a jungle cat, and she's carrying various weapons, and she's wearing a garland of skulls.
Durga. Yeah.
Yeah, and she starts not threatening, but it's just saying, "You fool, Kamsa, don't you understand? Your death has been born. The child you're looking for has already been born."
Yeah. And is elsewhere now. Yeah. And so here's the thing. So the child, here this verse is telling us about that this Vishnu Maya or Yoga Maya will appear with Krishna. So Balaram appears, Yogamaya appears. And that Yogamaya is kind of, Prabhupada uses this old electricity example, right? That is the same Shakti appearing in different ways as Yogamaya, as Mahamaya. There are two Mayas. Why don't we read the commentary to this? And Prabhupada quotes this very important verse from the Shvetashvatara Upanishad to open up the commentary.
Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Shruyate. In the Vedas, it is said that the potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are called by different names, such as Yogamaya and Mahamaya.
Okay.
Ultimately, however, the Lord's potency is one, exactly as an electric potency is one, although it can act both to cool and to heat, right? You have electricity and you have a heater and you have a cooler. That is such a good analogy, isn't
Very
it?
good analogy.
It's great. Prabhupada comes up with these analogies.
Excellent analogy.
Excellent. And he must have made that up. I don't think previous acharyas were
He
using
came
that
up with it.
analogy. Ultimately, however, the Lord's potency is one. Okay. The Lord's potency acts in both the spiritual and the material world. In the spiritual world, the Lord's potency works as Yogamaya. And in the material world, the same potency works as Mahamaya, exactly as electricity works in both a heater and a cooler. In the material world, this potency, working as Mahamaya, acts upon the conditioned soul to deprive them more and more of devotional service. Right?
Okay.
That's just what it does.
Covering our knowledge. Right?
It gives us illusion.
Yeah.
And that illusion, we don't hate Maya. Maya is a servant of Krishna, right?
Yeah.
But we understand her service, and we're trying to escape her service by surrendering to her master. It is said that
just in relation to that, the idea is that here are these two Mayas, which are two manifestations of the same energy, right? And one of them is called Yogamaya, which is facilitating Krishna's pastimes. It's an energy. Maya literally means energy. Maya also can imply illusion. And so Yogamaya is an energy that's facilitating Krishna's pastimes. And sometimes with that, the illusion that I am Krishna's mother, right? Yashoda is not thinking that this is God, who is eternal. When she's holding Krishna in her arms, she's saying, this is my little baby, right? That's the influence of Yogamaya, right? That we're going to hear later in the 10th canto that there's a time where Mother Yashoda looks into Krishna's mouth. And the moment that she looks in, she sees all the universe in there, including herself in Krishna. And her looking into Krishna's mouth, when think Krishna is what do they call ultimate regress. And for a moment, she's like, what is this? How is the universe inside the mouth of my little boy? How is everything inside him? Which is indicating that he is Vishnu. He is, it's him from which everything comes. Everything is within him. And for a moment, she's like in a state of wonder. And then the influence of Yoga Maya just covers that wonder. And she's just like, no, he's just my boy. So that's Yoga Maya. It's facilitating Krishna's pastimes in many ways. And then Maha Maya is the Maya that we're all influenced by, unfortunately, right? That convinces us that this material world is real, right? And that's like, just like we often say, that if we want to be the center of the universe, if we want to know that experience, we can, because ontologically we are not suited for that. The only taste that we can have of that is an illusion. Just like if a little boy wants to drive a car, he can't drive the car, but you can give him a toy car, right? And if you go up to him and, like, let's say he's sitting in that little toy car, and you walk him and say, that's not a real car, that's a toy car. The kid doesn't want to hear that. He wants to be in the illusion that it's a real car, right? And because we want illusion,
it's amazing, isn't it? It's such a reality. It's such a great analogy. People say, why am I suffering? Because we want illusion. We actually want it in the same way a child wants a pretend lawnmower, a pretend chainsaw, a pretend tractor, a pretend little car to drive around in, pretend cell phone.
Both you and I have heard stories of people that learn the whole Vedic philosophy, all of Vedanta, and Bhakti Vedanta, and then they kind of left the path, and then kind of dove back into trying to enjoy the material world. And then they bump into like another devotee that knew them from years ago. Hey, it's good to see you again. You know, we haven't seen you in a long time. You know, what have you been up to? Well, you know, I've been trying to enjoy the material world, but I just can't enjoy it because I know too much. You know.
Yeah, this Krishna consciousness is the Srimad Bhāgavatam. I hate to break it to some of you because some of you are sort of new to the podcast, but some of you get this statement. The Bhāgavatam will ruin your material life because once you hear this, it's like insider info, you know, just like it's almost like telling a child or the first time you've ever seen like a movie set. Like we're going to the Star Wars movie set, and you're like, wait a secend. It was projected in such a different. This is all fake. I thought they were actually in a desert, and there were sand people, and there was, these lasers don't, these lightsabers don't even work. Yeah, I know. It was just, you know, it's Hollywood.
Illusion. Okay.
Happens with us after a while. Once you start to see the workings of the material world, you're like, this is all mental concoction. Even my pleasure is mentally concocted. And to actually enjoy the material world, you need to put yourself into illusion.
Yeah. Or you need this power, this Mahamaya to put you into illusion.
Yeah.
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 Okay. So it's same energy manifesting in two different ways. Yogamaya, Mahamaya.
Okay.
All right.
You want
Ready for some takeaways?
I'm ready.
Oh, wow. We got to go. I got to go. I got a meeting with Maharaj.
You have to listen to my takeaways first.
We know that you're very special and you're having a very special and important meeting with Raghunath.
It is a very important meeting. You have like important like hammers.
Hit him.
Hammers?
Yeah, hammers to put down.
Okay.
Some
Just
judgments.
because we don't understand something doesn't mean it's not real.
It's true.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me personally. Yes, but that
Perhaps
too.
I am. Stretch your imagination.
Telepathy, Kaustubha. Telepathy is
tapes.
real. Telepathy
Not
is real.
debunked. Not debunked.
Not debunked.
How about this? Debunk the debunkers.
Ooh.
What do you think? No?
How about fact check the fact checkers?
Yeah. Okay.
Don't dismiss. Approach with curiosity.
Okay.
Don't miss.
At Christmas.
Don't dismiss Christmas.
The universe isn't limited to my realm of perception.
It's not. It's beyond it.
It's beyond.
Open the door to magic with, I don't know, could be.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you'd like
Welcome
that
to my
one.
magic land. I don't know. Magic world of I don't know anything.
Sever the knot and be fearless.
Sever it, cut the knot.
Krishna is always surrounded by love.
Yeah.
Aw.
We're choosing illusion like a kid in a toy car.
That's right.
My kids had toys, everything. Tractor, chainsaws, little cars.
Hmm.
Yeah. How about Frankie walking around with that fake toy iPhone?
Yeah, she loves that thing.
I was like, that's not a real iPhone. She's like, yes, it is. I'm making a call
See?
right now.
She didn't want to hear that. She wants to
wanna
be
hear
It's true. Forest fires and tsunamis are good in the planetary paradigm.
Yes, they all.
They're
have their
good.
purpose.
Sometimes there's good in what appear as evil.
And
And
Brahma, Vishnu, and the Devas are getting the band back together.
That's right.
that's a good one. That's a good one. Thanks everybody for joining us. I didn't
You
get to
guys are
say
getting the
go.
band
I
back
didn't say
together in
good.
Los Angeles.
Maybe we're gonna find out today.
Oh, it's
I didn't get to say good morning to everybody, but I do see Miguel and Miguel Jr. there. I don't know the name Miguel, but we're gonna
Miguelito.
find out.
Alma, baby Alma. Is that
Baby
right?
Alma. There we go. Beautiful. Look at that cute kid.